Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thiers. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Associations, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Please be seated if you can do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Victor Oxley. Victor Oxley was born on the 23rd of May 1897 in Canberra, New South Wales, one of 10 children born to John and Margaret Oxley. When he was young, his family relocated to the small community of Woodstock in the state's central west. He received his education at the local public school before taking up employment as a labourer and farmhand in the local district. Victor Oxley enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 12th of April 1916. Assigned to reinforcements of the 45th Battalion, he began training in Australia. In July, he and some of his comrades were farewelled by their hometown at a local send-off, where Victor was given a watch, a pair of socks and a cushion. He embarked for active service in late August from Sydney on board the troop ship Ancassay. Private Oxley reached England on the 11th of October and proceeded to camp at Codford, where he continued training until November, when he was briefly hospitalised. Upon recovering, he was sent to the Western Front, joining his unit in the front line in late December. He spent the bitterly cold winter of 1916 and 1917, alternating between training, working parties and duty in the trenches. In early 1917, the Germans retreated to the fortified Hindenburg Line. Oxley's battalion was in reserve at the village of Bullecourt during 2 major battles. Later in the year, the 45th Battalion was moved to Ypres, Salient in Belgium, as the focus of AIF operations shifted. Oxley took part in a major battle with his unit on the 7th of June 1917, near a small village of Messines. The battle began when 1 million pounds of explosives laid beneath German lines was detonated in the early hours of the morning. Enemy frontline positions were obliterated, allowing Allied units to advance almost unopposed. They fought over several days, successfully taking their objectives at a cost of nearly 7,000 casualties. On the 12th of October 1917, Oxley took part in a major battle near the Belgian village of Passchendaele. Owing to the muddy conditions, many men were unable to move forward, some drowned in the mud. Artillery was largely ineffective, and those who made it towards the fringe of the village were pinned down by fire from enemy pillboxes. Eventually, they were forced to pull back and give up ground at a cost of 3,000 casualties. Among the dead was Private Victor Oxley, killed in action on the 13th of October 1917. He'd been manning a Lewis gun with other members of his company when a shell burst over their position, killing Oxley and 2 others. He was buried near where he fell, at Passchendaele, New British Cemetery, where he lies today. Victor Oxley was just 20 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. Private Victor Oxley can be seen on the right side of the photograph that is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Victor Oxley, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We particularly appreciate your visit despite the challenges posed by COVID and wish you all a very pleasant evening.